plans for spin-offs, like for other characters, just to see in the books? Benedon, Vieka, anybody? Any plans? And will Lone Wolf or the World of Magnum ever be like an open source that everybody can write novels, send it to you and publish it, or will it be just your baby instead?
All right, I'll take the second question first, if I may. It kind of went open source for a few years, whereas the fan fiction was being channeled through Signs and Portents, the Mongoose magazine. The problem with unauthorized or unapproved material is that the die-hard fans don't know what is real and what isn't real, what is approved and what's not. And it's not just simply, me stamping my sort of fistal authority on what goes through and what doesn't. I have a very clear idea of what the story is, and the history. And as my French friends here will testify to, we spent most of yesterday afternoon going, analysing particular aspects of the world in detail. And I think I proved to them that yes, I don't make this stuff up as I go along. It has been, carefully thought out over the years for it all to piece together, and for it to reach this grand finale, this finish in book 32. So what often happens is, I don't want to dampen down the enthusiasm of the fans to write the material, but I can't approve stuff that doesn't fit into what my vision of that world and how it evolves, what that vision is. So it's a very tricky ground. Legally, it's an absolute nightmare as well. With the producing work, it's their copyright, but it's not really their copyright because it's set in my world with my characters, and it can get very difficult, especially if they have a very unusual view of world copyright and believe that by writing a piece of material set in my world, suddenly they own a big chunk of that world. And I haven't got time to deal with all of that. So the decision I made a couple of years ago is, with the advent of the new role-playing system, what I call sort of the intermediate system, that I would have much greater input into the source material and the source books that back that up. And that is becoming Lone Wolf canon. So the material you read that supports the intermediate role-playing game is now official. Not only do I have a huge input into that, and I mean, typically I'm writing 65 to 70% of it and then editing in detail the remainder. So if I'm co-authoring with somebody, they will provide me with the framework of the chapters they want to cover. I'll do a comment back on that, and then we'll allocate it. And very typically I will take 70% of the workload from that, because I've got such a huge resource already built up of material I've worked on over the years. And it's given me a great opportunity to develop those, or to develop the areas where the original game books were set. And if you see the progression of how those supplements are following, we're up to, what's the latest release here in Germany at the moment? Do you know the one where we are? Bestiary? Okay. So you've got Book of the Magna Chi to follow. Okay, and there's probably another supplement, an adventure supplement, Corruption of Vikaya. And then myself and some of the guys here, in fact, we're working on 3 other very exciting projects at the moment, which is Kai Monastery, Vasagonia and Dracalia. So I'm sure the fans will be very keen on reading all 3 of those, and we're having great fun writing them. We've got Stormlands coming out as well in 2 volumes, as it proved to be quite, more than one slim volume could handle. And a great setting for sort of intermediate level adventures. So the development of the role-playing system is kind of following the development of the original gamebook series, with the basic 5 books, and then you go into the intermediate Magna Chi, the middle section, and so it's developing along similar lines. So when Stormlands comes out, you should be in about the middle of your adventuring status, and you can go in and lots of intrigue and usual chaos and conflict that occurs there. So good background for the adventures. Now, the first part of your question I've completely forgotten, so you may have to read. You may have to ask that again. Spin-offs. Yeah, spin-offs. Well, as a general rule, spin-offs are occupy far more time than they warrant, quite honestly. And as you can imagine, I've got to really focus on what my priorities are with the storytelling. So my priorities at the moment are getting the game book series finished. So my mind is full of book 31 and 32. Because 30, I'm in the process just finishing the writing. So all the creative origination is done, and now I'm concentrating on making the prose as good as possible. 31 and 32 is quite a daunting task in respect I've got so many loose ends to tie up, and reams and reams of paper of bits and pieces. And I don't want it just to be 2 books full of explanation as to why this happened in book 8 and why this happened in book 12. But I want it a lot more subtle than that. But I think if you followed the series all the way through to that final point, you're going to be very satisfied with it. There's a lot, and I've been keeping a close eye on the fan chatter as well. Nobody has come close to how it ends. Nobody's come close to how it ends, which I'm delighted with. Really, there's quite a big twist in the tale at the end of it. But that all of the conjecture that people are throwing at it, how they think it will end, how they would like it to end, nobody's hit it just yet. So, and of course, I'm not going to say anything to change that status just now, because I really want to deliver a wow factor in the last book as to how it all turns around. But I can say that Lone Wolf doesn't die at the end of the last book. And it's not from some purely selfish reason, so I don't kill him off so I can have more books with him in. It just isn't suitable. You'll see, it'll be more obvious when you read the last one. You'll see why he doesn't die. He changes, but he doesn't die. So, I'm not in a Harry Potter-esque sort of way either.
You talk about canon, what is official. The novels are coming out again in the new version. Any comments on that? Because there was always a big, especially during discussion during fans, what is canon, what is not canon, and now they're coming out again. Any plans to rewrite them? Because I think you don't have the total rights for the novels, I think. Is this correct?
Yeah, the Legend series that I did with John Grant, Paul Barnett being his real name, started well, and then we had completely different visions as to how it should go, and I kind of lost control of it. I mean, John's a very good writer, but he kind of took over the series, and we kind of parted ways from a creative point of view. And I mean, it's been well documented that I'm not happy with some of the stuff that was established in the later novels, the ones after novel 5. And so really they're not officially Lone Wolf canon. And also they were retrogressive novels in as much as they were telling a story after the event. The game books had already established what had happened and were always ahead of the curve, ahead of where the novels were. So in simple forms, the novels aren't canon. Okay, there's a lot in there that has been incorporated into the canon, and it's typically my contribution to each of those novels. But the first novel was probably 80-20. I provided 80% of the input, and John provided 20, and it was the reverse by the end of the series. So it had switched round. So that was, it was kind of instrumental in me deciding to clear the issue by having much larger input into the supplements for the role-playing game. So if you're looking for accurate source material, that's where to go. Regards to the reprints, I think, are we talking about a reprint in German?
No, in England. I think it's in England. It's the first 3 books in 1 book. I think the first 2. Yeah. And I mean some slight changes there, but nothing really.
Well, you learn something every day. It's the first I've heard of it. I'll have to check it. But there may well be an offer or a publisher. I know there's a publisher in America that's doing compilations at the moment. Dark Star or something like that. I think they're called
Dark West.
Dark West, isn't it? Yeah, Dark West books. But they're online download, aren't they? Sort of PDF downloads. Probably, yeah, you know as much about it as I do. I know I had a bank transfer from them 2 years ago saying, here's some money, can we do it? All right, off you go. And then I heard nothing since. So that's as far as I can tell. But it does sound like they're doing compilations of the existing novels. Because the deal was put together by an agent who is married to John partner. So yeah, Pamela Schofield, she has an agency out there. She did the deal. So I think they're just reformatting the existing old Legend series. But regards spin-offs, then yes, the deal that I've done with Atlantica Lab in Italy, they're a very large company there, will generate spin-offs from the 3 games, and they will involve novellas, short novels, of telling the story of each of the 3 games, and hopefully some game books as well. I've got a big input into this, so I'm kind of, I'm designing I'm creating the backstory, and I have an input into the design. As some of you know, I've done a lot of computer game design work over the years as well, so I'm sort of technically competent at doing this work. And it makes sense, obviously, if they want to use my name on the product, then it's only fair that I should have input into the product rather than just, a stamp of approval. It's real creative input into the product. And that will guarantee that it sits in the canon correctly as well. All in all, it's an exciting project to go back to that period, because that's really Lone Wolf at the real toughest part of his, career, if you like, and to tell the stories of the missing gaps, all the action that occurs in between. Yeah, I'm very much enjoying doing that. Regards to release dates, he's still looking at a 2013 release, so Christmas of next year. Production cycles are shorter, fortunately, on the tablet than they are on the PC and console. So that'd be first release then, and then probably 2014 for the other 2. So 2014 is going to be quite a focus year, 30th anniversary and so on. So we should see a lot of things coming out of that time. But the guys at Atlantica, obviously, they're all fans, which helps because I don't have to explain anything to them. They all know the series; they've grown up with it. Italy is a huge fan base for me. It's probably larger than Germany, on par with France, which is also, long established and very keen. And so I kind of wasn't surprised to find 12 die-hard Lone Wolf fans in the middle management at Atlantica, all championing this course. It's so useful. It's so helpful when they're all on your side, and they know it. You see, they've grown up with it. They know it intimately. So that's why I enjoy working on it. And consequently, when we have conferences and meetings, there's millions of ideas, and we can do Lone Wolf duvet covers, and one I particularly like is an energy drink that they're going to be producing. Yeah,
never national.
Yeah, a Lone Wolf energy drink. Now that's cool. No, that's I can't remember the name of it now, but it's a great name. But hopefully by the end of the interview, I'll remember what it was. Yeah,
it's a movie as product placement.
Well, it's going to come out as we're coming out as an energy drink with the sort of Lone Wolf logo on it. But it's the name the Italians have given to Laumspur in the books, in the Italian versions of the books. That's what it is. It's kind of like Vigoretta.
I didn't know about that actually.
Yeah. It's what they call Laumspur in the Italian translations.
What was that?
Laumspur, the healing potion. Begins with a V, and it's called Vigoretta.
I should ask Alessandro.
Yeah, I'll ask Alessandro. I'll find out. But it's such a great name because in English it sounds just right. It's like, drink this and you're going to feel really strong.
They've been keeping the secret, so they didn't spread any kind of word. So I didn't know that.
Well, it's sort of
good to know anyway.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's great, and that one probably will happen first by the sort of strange law of logic that this dictates. I think it's Vigoretta. I think it's going to be something like that.
Anyway, they are, as you were saying.
So that's an example of some of the crazy spin-offs. Okay, and then one I'd particularly like to do is a Lone Wolf card game, playable, collectible. As you know, there are literally thousands of characters and creatures now, and more than enough to produce a really good lexicon of characters to draw on. So I've got meetings in Milan later this month to discuss that in detail. But like I say, from my point of view, the focus has always got to be prioritising getting the creative stories out there, finishing the series. The rest can follow quite naturally from that.
Which of the bonus adventures in the books do you enjoy most?
Oh gosh. I would have to say, not purely from a diplomatic point of view, but probably 15. Okay, Castle Akatal. Because Nick and I worked on that, and Nick is kind of hosting this and paying for it all, and the reason we're here. But that one, because we both equally had an input to that. So Nick kind of created the first half of the story, getting you there, and then I finished off with the second half of it. So that one, because of just the amount of input I had into the writing of it, and it was nice. It was quite satisfying to actually go back and do a sort of a story that didn't focus on Lone Wolf or the New Order kind of character, and to do it from a different perspective, and also tell a bit of a story set in a Drakkarian homeland. I mean, from the fan base point of view, the Drakkarian are big favourites, and a lot more will be revealed in the supplement as to their origins and organisation and all the different types and what they get up to. So yeah, question answered. Bonus 15, Castle Akatal.
Concerning the new novels, there were 2 trilogies planned by August Hahn.
Indeed, yes. Indeed.
And well, one book was written for both, I think. Yeah, 2 books out, one for each trilogy. And now it kind of stopped.
It has,
Any information on that? Why?
Oh gosh, political mainly.
It's
a shame, really. Yeah, well, no, thanks, they were. And August has completed all 3 of his books. Richard Fall's gone on to other things. Richard Fall was an editor at Mongoose when we started the project. He produced an outline, which was very good, the overall story, and Lencia and the Drakkarian and the war ensuing. Then I did quite a bit of work on the first book, so it's got a lot of my flavour to it, Dragons of Lencia. Richard then left Mongoose, set himself up as an independent writer, and now he's gone on, he's producing a new series of books for a publisher. I get the feeling there was a falling out between him and Mongoose, alright, so which is not good news for us. I don't think that series is going to be completed. I think Dragons of Lencia is a full stop. And with regards to August, the books are there, and why they're not being published is a bit of a mystery, really. Yeah, again, I think it's a bit of friction between him and the guy who runs Mongoose. And I've tried to smooth this out over the years, because August is a great guy to work with, really dedicated, knows his stuff, a joy to work with, quite frankly, and a great friend of mine. We stay in email contact every week. I've done my damnedest to try and get those books out, but sales-wise, they don't come anywhere near what we sell in my origination and the original game books. I mean, they lag behind by a long way. So guys like yourself would certainly be interested in reading the novelizations, but when you look at the sales, they're nowhere close to what we do in the hardback collector series, for instance. And obviously, that's got to influence the publisher's decision. Does he put the money into producing the next Lone Wolf game book, or does he cut that series and use that money, divert it accordingly? Or does he produce a very small print run, which will inevitably cost more money, and sell in very small numbers? It's tricky. I think the answer is really they should have been done in paperback rather than hardback, and produced physically cheaper. And we've seen, what Nick's done a great job here in Germany with the collector series in paperback. They're very nice additions, and can be done. Make a lot of economic sense to produce them like that. So I think that's the decision that should have been made, but it should have been made years ago, and now possibly too late. I wouldn't write off August's trilogy completely, because the manuscripts are there and done and completed, and I've edited them. So they're just gathering dust somewhere at the moment. Very likely the timing will be right for them to be released in some sort of format. But as we all know, if Lone Wolf gets a good computer game production on iPad, and then a proper film treatment as well, that changes everything. Suddenly it all becomes fresh again and demand increases. Then we'll see it. Yeah.